good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying your time here at Winston-Salem State University for this wonderful occasion. At this time, it is my pleasure to bring to you the Winston-Salem State University Schola Cantorum.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud under the bludgeonings of chance. My head is uneven and bowed beyond this place of wrath and tears, looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds. I shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. When you're strong and I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long that I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So please swallow your pride, 'cause if I have things that you need to borrow, say no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. So please swallow your pride, 'cause if I have things that you need to borrow, say no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need some
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Bell, and I'm the president of the Student Government Association here at Winston-Salem State University. And first and foremost, I would like to welcome you all to one of the most prestigious, impactful, thought-provoking events hosted here by our beloved institution. This is the Black Male Symposium, Revolutionizing Education in America. I would like to share a fun fact with you all about what a symposium is. So, symposium is a term that derived from ancient Greece. It's actually the title of one of Plato's Socratic dialogues. And essentially, it is a social institution commonly referred to as a drinking party, where men of good family debate, plot, boast, and revel with one another about an important subject. Well, in our case, we're missing a very important aspect of a symposium, and that's the wine. But nonetheless, every other aspect will be exploited with great substance on today. The theme of this symposium is very critical as it relates to the progress of our society and the development of the many generations to come. I will share with you a quote that our great founder put forth during his time, and it helps articulate the severity of this topic. Simon Green Atkins states that education is primarily an effort to realize in man his possibilities as a thinking and feeling being. That quote proves that education is the oxygen needed for progress, character, intellect, and morale to breathe. There are fallacies in Americans' current educational system, and African Americans are especially subjected to these errors. Our country has become engulfed by this materialistic culture that values consumption and pop culture to the extent that they have become priorities. This is not healthy for the intellect of America's inhabitants and must be reversed before it is too late. I am no expert on the subject, but lucky for us, we have an expert tonight here in Dr. Steve Perry. After reading his phenomenal book, Push Has Come to Shove, I can assure you that you're in for the discussion of a lifetime. So sit back, open your ears, your minds, and your heart as you prepare for the exploration of a life-threatening disease infecting the minds of our children, known as the American education system. It is up to us to stop this thing before it gets beyond our reach. Let's be the cure. And before I step off the stage, I would like to leave you all with a quote, that no peace lies in the future, which is not hidden in this present instant. So we must take peace. Thank you, and enjoy the symposium, and prepare for a musical selection by Music in Motion. Thank you.
Get ready, my Africa, for your freedom.
Freedom is coming tomorrow.
Get ready, my Africa, for your freedom.
Freedom is coming tomorrow.
Good afternoon. I said good afternoon. I am Eric Johnson, a freshman business administration major from Greensboro, North Carolina. I am the president of the Cohort 2 Renaissance Men. I am also the chair of the Academics Affairs Committee of the Student Senate. This evening, I have the pleasure of welcoming you all to the 11th annual Winston-Salem State University Black Male Symposium. The Black Male Symposium was created to provide a platform to examine issues related to Black male upward mobility and progress in an effort to uplift Black males in a fashion that will propel us into leadership and success. With Black male retention being a nationwide issue, it is our responsibility as individuals, a university community, and a society as a whole to play a role in eradicating this statistic. In past years, the Winston-Salem State University Black Male Symposium has featured speakers including Dr. Naeem Akbar, Spike Lee, Reverend Floyd Flake, Jim Ellis, and Mark Anthony Neal, just to name a few. This year's symposium is focused on acknowledging the need to revolutionize education in America. How fortunate are we to have Dr. Steve Perry here with us this evening to speak on this topic. It is imperative that all within the reach of my voice understand the role they play in educating our community. As a member of the Renaissance Male Mentoring Program, I have the opportunity to engage with men that understand the importance of education and the importance of educating. In the words of our mentor, advisor, and Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs and Campus Life, Theo Howard, when he discusses with us the direct correlation of our university's motto, enter to learn, depart to serve, and the work we do as members of the Renaissance program, he says, you all are being developed and groomed into leaders and mentors by creating a habit of serving now, so you can and will depart from WSSU to serve. Again, I thank you all for being here with us this evening and hope you all enjoy the rest of your time here. I will now invite Mr. Rody Lamb to come forth and provide you some more information on our speaker, Dr. Steve Perry. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I said good afternoon. My name is Rody Lamb Jr., and I'm a sophomore business administration major from Beaufort, South Carolina. And I am delighted and honored to introduce to some and present to you all the speaker of the evening, Dr. Steve Perry. Dr. Steve Perry's heart pumps passion and produces positive change. Featured in CNN's Black in America series, Dr. Perry is the most talked about, innovative educator on the scene today. Perry is the founder and principal of what U.S. News and World Report has cited as one of the top schools in the country, Capital Preparatory Magnet School in Hartford, Connecticut. Capital Prep has sent 100% of its predominantly low-income, minority, first-generation high school graduates to four-year colleges every year since its first class graduated in 2006. Perry is in a hurry to transform the community. Born into his family's third generation of poverty on his mother's 16th birthday, Perry believes that the success of a life is determined by where you end, not where you start. It is this philosophy that inspired him to transform the lives of poor and minority children by providing them with access to a college education. Dr. Steve Perry is a strong advocate of personal and civic responsibility in all aspects of life. He emphasizes the social issues that aim at building up both the individual and the community so that the next generation can be better contributing members of society. When Perry speaks, he reaches the heart of his audience to motivate change in themselves and their community. His secrets to success and calls to action are revealed in his new book, Push Has Come to Shove, getting our kids the education they deserve, even if it means picking a fight. In addition to being the principal of Capital Preparatory Magnet School, Dr. Perry, MSW, is an education contributor for CNN and MSNBC, an Essence magazine columnist, best-selling author, and the host of the #1 docudrama for TV1, Save My Son. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Steve Perry.
Thank you. All right, all right. How y'all doing? Thank you so much for, well, I was gonna say for coming here, but some of y'all came on a bus, so you didn't have a choice. I'm not gonna hold you, but I do want to have an opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much. It was almost like I stepped into a version of the sing-off. Can you give it up to the groups that were here before, please? A little louder than that. You know, I know you've been through a long program today, so it's important that I get right to the point. The point is that you are either about to or you about it, right? So many of us have people in our lives who spend time telling us they're going to do something for us, but they never get around to it. So many of us are talking about things that we want to do, but we never get around to. Those people are about to. I want to share with you a brief story about a young man, really two young men. And you can see how life's decisions can take you in different paths. And what's good about this is I know these kids, and you probably know kids like this as well, where both of them played football. And as many of you are experiencing, those of you who are in high school, one of the biggest challenges in your life is who you roll with. Some of y'all have fake friends, people who talk about you, people make you feel bad anytime you're halfway successful, or people who put a light on you that's so bright you feel like your cornea is about to burn out. It's important that you understand that these two young men wanted to get up out of the housing projects that they lived in. One of them figured he'd make his way playing football, the other one figured he'd do something different. They both loved football, but football wasn't the same for both of them. What I've come to learn is that when you have somebody who takes the time to show you how to do something right, you may want to listen. What I've come to learn is that you never know when you're going to pick up something that's going to take you to the next place. And as somebody who, I don't know if any of you ever saw the show, Save My Son? Yeah. So with that show, one of the things that I would spend time doing was getting to know some of the young brothers from throughout the country, but also getting to know some of the celebrities like Charles Barkley. Y'all know him? Steve Harvey, right? Some other dudes who were part of the solution. And one of the things that they each showed me is that you don't know who cares about you. Sometimes there are people who care about you who you've never met. There are people who've seen you today, who've been with you, both college students and high school students, who've been watching you, trying to find a way to support you and give you something that you could never have dreamed of. And so these two young men made their way through high school. One was older. He wasn't as good a football player, but he was the captain. They won a state championship, and then there was the younger one. He was the real talent. In fact, he had a nickname. They called him Soup, short for Superman. The reason why they called him Superman because he played football and basketball. He was the captain of the team, the basketball team, at 5'10", and a sophomore. One of the top recruited athletes in the country. The older one was not nearly as talented athletically, but he was aware of the fact that there's always somebody watching, there's always somebody in a position who wants to help. And the question is, either you're about to or you're about it. Are you about to do what you're supposed to do, or are you doing what you're supposed to do? And in his mind, he wanted to be about it. He wanted to be a person who was making the right decisions, not living a saintly life, but making sure that he did what he could to put himself in the best position to be successful. And so, as they went on, the older one went off to college, and the younger one was recruited by virtually every school in his area. A number of big-time Division I schools, but his grades stunk. And one of the things that happens when your grades stink is no matter how good you are as an athlete, your stock drops. People don't spend as much time chasing kids that they think are not going to be eligible because you become a risk. But the other one went off to college and started to get his life started. Both of them lived in public housing, but the difference in this one was he saw himself differently. He wanted to be something different than what he had been. See, so many of us are born into a situation that we want out of. So many of us have to make a decision to separate ourselves from the very people who are supposed to be supporting us. So many of us have to decide whether or not we can even depend on our own parents. One of the hardest decisions many of the college students here have to make is who they go home to. It's a strange thing, really. You come to college and you get your life started, you figure people are going to be supporting you and celebrating you back home, but they make you feel like there's something wrong with you for going away to college. People make you feel guilty, call you strange names like white. It's crazy, really, when you think about it. Think about how we're supposed to get better, but there are people who are supposed to love us who so don't love themselves that they can't love you and give love to you, so they got to just throw shade and hate your way. And you got to try and find a way to overcome that and make them feel good about themselves while trying to feel good about yourself while they are hating on you. It's a hurting feeling, really, when you reach back or you go back home and you try to sit down and talk to somebody and they make you feel bad for making different decisions than they did. You decided not to go on that ride that they went on. They got locked up and you didn't. You decided to do something different and you're here at Winston-Salem State. And they're there, wherever there is. You can't carry their bitterness. You can't deal with their shortcomings. You can't deal with their situation. You just got to deal with you. And these two young men, while they were friends, they were almost like brothers, really. When the older one went off to college, the young one stayed behind and struggled. He came 1 year later. He was that good of an athlete that he finally did make it on campus, but he didn't make it to the top school he should have. But he had a scholarship. Got on campus, flunked off. See, it's strange, really, that even a scholarship doesn't guarantee you grades. And the reason why this is important is just because you got an opportunity doesn't mean it's going to turn into something. Again, when you have so many people supporting you and you don't know how to deal with that, you don't know how to take that support and turn it into something meaningful, you end up losing opportunities. But sometimes college coaches have a way of making things happen. So this young man got back on campus the following year. Played his first year of football after having been out of football for 2 years. Became Rookie of the Year for his team, the top scorer for his team. And life seemed to be good. The problem was he didn't make the changes to himself as a person. He didn't start taking school seriously. You're here today because somebody believes in you. You're here today because somebody believes you to be better than what you are. When you're about it, there's somebody who wants to be better. You're hungry. You're looking for an opportunity. You're looking for opportunities where other people see obstacles. You're trying to find something that's meaningful. Well, what am I supposed to get from this? What am I supposed to learn from this? Am I supposed to be able to hear something that's, am I supposed to be able to find myself in this? The answer is yes. Not just this conversation, but this in general. The older one and the younger one, they ended up roommates. The older one would say to him, come on, man, you got to study, you got to get your life together, you got to do these things, and people back home counting on us. But sometimes when you make it up out the hood, when you finally make it up out there, some people who are really celebrating you, and they're hoping it gets better because they celebrate your success by telling people, bragging on you, like, yeah, that's my man, he's up there doing that thing. So one night, they were supposed to go back home. The younger one's brother was a drug dealer, and so he was going to go home and get some money from him. The older one, whose father was already in prison, he said, I'm not going, and, we really should probably just chill here. Nah, I'm going to go home. The younger one also had been recruited by a number of professional baseball teams. They said he just had to play, they wanted to see him play 1 year of college baseball. So it was right before baseball season. He went home. You ever had one of those dreams where it feels so real? Like you just feel like you've just been in a movie. It just feels like it's really real. Logan woke up from one of those dreams, and he had this dream that his friend had stabbed. So he woke up, and he woke up to the ring of a phone, and the phone rang, and it was his friend's mother who said that he had been shot. Life can pivot for you sometimes. Sometimes when it feels like everything's going your way, it pivots. So this young man drives full speed as fast as he can and gets to the hospital where he sees this young man. If you've ever seen anybody who's ever been shot, it's not like a movie. It really is bad. It doesn't look good. What a bullet does to a body, what 2 bullets do to a body is really hard. It was an innocent enough situation. He was simply walking out of a club. It's the whole story. He was walking out, bumped into somebody bumped. He said, my bus. The guy said, you're right, and turned into a fight, and he got the guy in a headlock, got shot. So many of us in our community spend so much time dealing with life and death that we forget to live. We spend so much time dealing with the circumstances of finality that it seems like we just don't live in the moment. We don't make the most of what we have. What I need you to understand is that tomorrow's not promised. And so as you're here today, what are you doing to make the very best of it? When you roll with certain people, simple instances turn into these things. You go home and you hang out with drug dealers, and who do they hang with? And where do they hang? And what do they do? And so this seemingly simple incident turned into what it was, not because somebody bumped into somebody, because you bump into people at a grocery store, they don't shoot you, but when you go to certain places with certain people, bad things happen. So many decisions that you're going to make going forward about who you're with. So when he got to the hospital, he saw his friend there. He'd been shot in the arm twice, his throwing arm. He would never play any sports ever again. But while he lay there, his friend walked in and he talked to his mom. He said, I'm really sorry. I felt like it's my responsibility to help take care of him. And she said, grabbed him by the shoulders and she looked at him and she said, either you about to or you about it. He looked at us, a really strange thing to hear from somebody at this point. And she said, I don't understand what you mean, man. She said, either you'll make the best of today or you'll get caught up in it. She said, you need to get back to campus. You need to handle your business. So he did. Cried all the way back to the school. Tried to figure out what he was going to do, how he was going to make it better, how he was going to make not just his family proud, but her proud, because he felt like he now carried the responsibility of 2 people whose dreams were sent to school. So he graduated, went on to an Ivy League graduate school. From there, wrote 6 books. Started a school. Came down to Winston-Salem. Say what's up to y'all. My friend never graduated from college. He's physically fine now. But he never experienced what you get to experience today. His was a short time on campus because of one simple out-of-school decision. And so I ask you, as you're there today, you're thinking about all that you've been through today, you didn't just come to visit this school so that you could be off your school's campus, but you came here because somebody believed in you. And those of you who are college students, you're here hosting them because they want people to look at you as role models. We're all here for the same reason. We're all here to get better. To be better, to make our community better. Because see, when I was growing up, they would say that black people have to be twice as good. Your generation has to be 3 times as good. You have to find a way to be better than anybody who's ever done it before you, and you have to do it with people who are not necessarily supportive of you. You have to find the people who care enough about you to make you a better person. who dare believe in you enough to invest in you, to encourage you to be better than you've ever been. It's all too easy for you to be caught up in where you are now. One of the hardest parts about this is to see, I come to college campuses and I see kids who call themselves thugs. You ain't no damn thug. How you thug you took the ACT? You were on a swim team in high school, homie. No thugs in a Speedo. Or the girls who half like them. You know, I want an intelligent hoodlum. If he's a hoodlum, he's dumb. Because a smart person would put himself in that situation. You know, I want somebody who's going to be able to protect me. If you need that much protection, you can shut your mouth. Or learn to fight. The worst part of this journey for me often is when I get to campuses and I see handsome young brothers walk around campus trying to look like bums, trying to act like bums, trying to act like you're hard. Here, hard dudes are there. Acting like you in gangs because you're in fraternities. But I'm going to call it what it is. Instead of coming and making the best of the situation, to making people proud, instead of graduating from the school, you just don't go to school. You ain't here to go to school, you're here to graduate from school. We've all come too far, put too much on the line for your black behind to come up here and act up. There are too many people who care. There are too many people who put it all on the line, put their own families on the line so they can be here for you to just quit. Let me give it to you. You can't go home from here. You can't go back to what you used to be. You can't go back to the hood and hang out when you've been on a college campus. You don't look right. You look nuts. When you go back, you're supposed to be helping them. You ain't supposed to be standing next to them.
Yes, sir.
When you go home, you're supposed to be inspiring young men, not needing inspiration. You're supposed to be a leader. You've made it this far. I understand. It's hard because you still want to fit into something. You want to belong to somebody. When you belong to somebody, they're right around you. These people. And I say, to the young ladies, you can help us out a lot here, especially with these brothers. People always talking about how to save young men. I tell you what, tell them they ain't getting none until they get an A. Right. Brothers are already trying to negotiate. What about a C+? But see, young ladies, you gotta own this because, see, that's the reason why there's so many dudes walking around looking like, acting like bums. Because you keep accepting bums. You accept nothing, they don't give you nothing. If he ain't gotta work for it, he ain't gonna. Men are lazy. If it's easy, we gonna take it. And if it's easy, we gonna act like it was easy. See, they don't bring me here to give you the kind of soft and loving conversation. I'm here to give it to you raw, brothers and sisters. I want you to understand that there's a real world on the other side of this conversation. And it's about time you recognize that.
Speak on it, black man.
About time you understand that there's no second acts for a lot of y'all. There's no father, mother, trust fund waiting for you. This is it. This is the whole story. You don't make it happen here. It's a wrap, Chief. You can't call on anybody to hook you up with anything. You can't even go to Chick-fil-A and try and get some more anything. You have to understand that this is our time. This is it. This is the whole thing. This is your whole team. This is the starting team. Ain't no bench. In order for us to get better, we got to do better. And I'm talking to you the same way I would talk to grown people, because the truth is, some of y'all are in positions where you have to feel like you act grown. Unfortunately, there are people who are adults in your life who act like children. Sitting there telling you about how when they were young, what they used to do, you know they're lying. Now I was your age today. Somebody would beat you at the end of the block and beat you all the way home. Somebody skipped some beats. Because there would not be this much foolishness if that was the case. I recognize it's hard. It's hard sometimes when there's somebody who you think you're supposed to depend on and is supposed to act like an adult, and they don't. But I again say to the young ladies, set your standards higher. Let me try something a little different. Get standards. Being cute ain't enough. You gotta recognize that it's not cool. So many young ladies get to campus and they would, the dude who has been on campus, I think this dude has pledged some of the deans on campus. He's been on campus so long. He ain't a 6-year senior, he's just here. What class does he go? I don't know. He's just always been here. Been here longer than some of the buildings. Meanwhile, you got some of these good dudes in here, coming correct, looking sharp, doing the work, trying to graduate, trying to make an impact, but he's your friend. That's the dude who you call to go shopping with. You know, he's kind of like a brother to me. I don't really want him, because he's a brother to me. He's like, brothers, we ain't kin. We are not related. This is the same one that you call in the middle of the night and you're like, he did it to me again. And he's sitting there, hard as calculus. They ain't ready. They ain't ready. I'm trying to take them to the deep water, but I want them there. They ain't ready yet. Hard as algebra. Ladies, you gotta understand that there are brothers in here who are doing the right thing. Y'all gotta recognize that you have to support them. You want more good dudes? Support good dudes. These young men who are doing right and living right, treat them like that. Throughout the rest of the animal kingdom, only the strongest survive. Throughout our community, we allow the weakest to reproduce over and over again. We allow the cats who shouldn't be allowed to raise a fish to become fathers. These cats can't mow a lawn or make a bed. It's about self-esteem here. When you feel like you have something that's worthwhile, you don't just give it away to any clown who says you look good. Just because he hits you with a compliment, you're supposed to get compliments. You saw you before you left the house. You're supposed to get compliments. You shocked. I'm pretty. That's it. And brothers, I need you to understand that even if they don't get it, they'll get it later. They will. When you driving in something smooth, they count stretch marks. See, when I speak, I'm not a preacher, you understand? It's sort of like a roller coaster ride. You hear, woo, ah, that's what it is. Because, see, the truth has that effect on people. Because what the grown people here know is this the truth. The truth is that this is not going to stay the way that it is. It's going to look different. And I'm saying to you, young men, that it is vital that you stand up and be the young men that you are here to be. That you get to a point where you decide that you want to be better than any brother who's come before. Not better because you're better than him, but better than the people who put you in the position that you're in. That you challenge yourself to make right decisions. You challenge yourself to be a better man. See, that's really where we are here. Whether you're about to or you're about it. There are so many men, I have so many uncles who about to. Man, I'm about to get a new job. I'm about to go buy. I'm about to get the record deal. That's the about to, right? Men who about it just did it. See, real men don't announce their arrival. It takes care of itself. When you're really doing it, you don't have to tell anybody. They can see. And it's a real good feeling, too. Hey, man, ain't you? Yeah, you're right. That's me. I heard. Yeah, you did. But what about? That's me, too. It's all me. All that over there is mine, and that right there is mine. That's mine, too. How you doing? Sorry to hear about that. How are those kids? I'm telling you, brothers, that you've got to decide today. You've got to decide today the kind of man you're going to be. You've got to make a decision what kind of brother you're going to be. And who you're going to be with. It is a difficult decision to separate yourself from people who don't want to do right. But it is the most important decision you will make in your life. And it doesn't stop. See, you need people around you to know how to celebrate you. You need people who, when you call them and you have good news, they're happier for you than you are. People can't wait to tell, yo, man, you know what my man did? The people in your life who make you feel like you have to apologize for being successful, you don't want to tell that you got an A, you don't want to tell that you got a new job or internship. If that person is in your life, just like that's a good thing about technology, I don't remember anybody's phone. Delete. Delete them. Next time you talk to them, they'll call you. That's how it should be. Get down to the only people who are in your life are the ones who are there to make your life better. Because anybody you bring along the ride who's not there to go where you want to go is going to take you in a different direction. So I'll say this as I close. You're here for a reason. And that reason is to improve your life. But as black people, by virtue of the fact that you improve your life, you improve our community. And every single one of you has a responsibility to do that. It ain't going to get better till we get better. When you love yourself enough to live up to the life that you're supposed to have, and you're better than the circumstances from which you come, and you understand it's just a starting place, it's not going to be how the story ends. When you have the courage to look to people to the left and the right and say, man, I don't know where you're going, but I'm going to go forward. When young women and men have the sense of self to say, I can't let you into my space unless you come in to make it better. When you become those people, life gets real good. It feels a lot better in that position. The challenge is yours. Are you about to, or are you about it? Thank you so much for your time and attention.
and Marketing from Charlotte, North Carolina. Dr. Perry, thank you for those enlightening words. Can we please give another round of applause? On behalf of the WSSU Grand family, we would like to thank you for participating in the 10th annual Black Male Symposium with this small token of appreciation. I would now like to call Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Dr. Trey Cotton Ford, to close out our evening.
Okay, again, let me thank all of you for taking time out and being with us. My name is Trey Cotton. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs here, and my sincere hope is that you had an opportunity to really hear what was going on. Now, somebody in this audience might be offended by something that you heard. If you're offended, I'm going to ask you to think for yourself about why you are offended. Did he say something that cut so deep? If he did, what changes do you think you may need to make? A lot of what I heard was about decisions. What decisions do we make in our lives? Those decisions drive our future outcome. Whether you are a college student here at Winston-Salem State, one of our community colleges, or whether you are one of our high school students that happen to be in the audience today, the message is the same. It applies. You talk to any of the adults in the audience, and they've got friends that didn't make it. Despite coming from good backgrounds, bad backgrounds, or backgrounds in between, they've got friends that didn't make it. Ask them why, and it's because of decisions that they made that allowed them to make it, and decisions that others made that allowed them to not make it. At Winston-Salem State, we strive to. We may not always be successful, I'm real, but we strive to try to make a difference in the lives, predominantly an African-American community. Though not holistic. Anybody that comes to this campus, we want to provide you with the type of education you need to grow and to move forward. And I think when you have an opportunity to see the talent that we display on a regular basis, our students that are singing, same students are making the grades. The students that came up and presented today are the role models that we have for our campus. And there are others that are sitting in this front row who today wasn't their day to shine, but they shine nevertheless. As I listened to what Dr. Perry had to say, young ladies, you really don't understand the power you have over us as men. And forgive me, fellas, I'm just going to tell the story right now. It's real. Because if you tell us, ladies, that you're tired of watching us walk around with our pants hanging off our butt, I promise you, it'll change. If you tell us you're tired of seeing it, it'll change. If you hold us accountable in a positive way and back and support us when we need you, we'll make some changes. Fellas, you also can't be afraid to try to hold her to that same level of accountability. If she acting like one of those 3-letter or 5-letter words that they throw around on TV and on the radio all the time, help her to elevate beyond that. That's your job, that's your obligation. Again, I'll say, if Dr. Perry cut you, think about why. It was just a word or words, but if you got cut, there's a reason why you got cut. Think about what the reason is. We're going to ask Dr. Perry if he will come back out because we want to give some opportunity for some question and answer. We've got some mics set up around, and he's actually taking care of a couple things, so he'll be back out in just a moment. But let me again thank all of those who were instrumental in making this day happen. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize Mr. Theo Howard. Please, Mr. Howard, would you please stand? Mr. Howard is our Assistant Vice Chancellor for Campus Life. One of the individuals on my leadership team, the whole Black Male Symposium is his brainchild. Not just today, but what's going on all along. Two other individuals who are going to hate me, but that's okay. I'm the boss, so I get to do this. Ms. Heather Davis, would you please step out? Come on, come on, come on. Ms. Heather and Ms. Shalee Broussard. And is Mr. Orlando Mitchell still in here? Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell is not here. Mr. Mitchell is another member of our staff. I'll ask for a round of applause for Mr. Mitchell as well. These individuals are not just the wheels, but the grease and the tracks that make this whole thing work. And so I cannot say enough about them. The school system, Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Schools, our community colleges, and AARP, who also helped in support, and certainly our Provost Office, Dr. Brenda Allen, for their financial support of this as well. Dr. Perry, are you ready? If we can ask you to go ahead and take your seat, we're going to move into some, or whatever is comfortable for you, move into some question and answer at this particular point in time. Question and answer, please come to the mic.
Hello, my name is Peter Austin. I'm a senior. I'm a science major, Tarboro, North Carolina. My question to you is, being a successful advocate for education, what has been your technique, or like not secret, but what did you do to get young men and young women to want to learn, to inspire them, to know their history, to get into their education and take it serious? I feel like a lot of people are capable, but they just don't have the interest.
Right. I appreciate the question. The question was, what do we do to help young men in particular, but young people in general, commit to education? And it starts with love, honestly. So many of us as men are uncomfortable with that word. You know, we act like it's the worst thing to be in love or to be loved. It's because we haven't been raised in a way in which we're comfortable with who we are as dudes. And so we're afraid that that's going to show that we're soft or something like that. But the truth is that the toughest people can be honest and in touch with themselves and say, look, I love you, man. I want things to go well for you. So our school starts with love. It starts with the notion of love. And then I surround the kids with people who love them, and people who don't love them, I fire them. It's really that simple. It's nothing personal. I could like the dude that I let go, but if he's not going to take care of my kids like they're my kids, then we really can't work together. And it's not my job to keep him employed. It's my job to get you to Winston-Salem State. So I don't feel any other way about it. Thank you. As they're coming down, I got to tell you, I don't always get a great feeling when I come to college campuses, and I got to be really honest with you, especially to be really, really with you. I've been to a lot of HBCs, and some look like you could push them down with your bare hands. And it's unfortunate, but here at Winston-Salem State, you have an amazing campus, and you have some really, really, really good young women in there. I'm normally in a hurry to get out, but I feel like, wow, sit down somewhere. I like it here. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Perry, for your time. I'm James Fan, and I kind of respect. I supposedly transferred here in the fall, springtime for nursing. And Dr. Perry, I do have a question. Well, as African American, who's like more like I could say I'm pretty much cookie cutter, like pretty much stay good to myself. And I feel like I do see news a lot, and I do see a lot of African Americans getting shot, and a lot of things aren't happening to the people that are shooting them. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm sure everybody else sees this too. Is there anything that we can do as African American males? Because we don't really do sit downs anymore. It's like those times are over. But is there anything we can do as African Americans that if we see like stuff like this happening, what can we do now to
It's a great question. So I think the question is, if we see black men being shot, I think more specifically you're talking about by a couple of white dudes recently? Yeah. Here's my answer to that. Let's stop the black people from killing us first. immediately. And then what has to happen is y'all got to get politically involved. You know, it's like people act like they get hives or something by going to vote or reading the paper. I mean, even just click on Yahoo, you're going to get some headlines. Y'all don't have to click right to Kim Kardashian. I mean, there are other things up there too. I mean, real talk. It makes no sense to have all this education and let it go to waste. What's happening is okay, let me just call it what it is. In our country, there's a sense of apartheid that's still in place, which is that a small group of people control a lot of people. But the reason why a lot of people get controlled is because we just chill. As long as we can get on a couple teams and a couple people can get elected to a couple offices, everything's all right. But if everybody's not winning, then we're losing. We're a team, see? And so the first thing that we have to do when we're having a conversation, especially, I mean, let's look where we are. It makes no sense to talk about other communities while we're sitting right here, the wonderful community that we're in. All of y'all come from somewhere. Contact the school board and tell them that you want school choice so that your kids can have the same access to good schools that theirs do. Contact the local elected officials and tell them that you want to do something there. But then go back to your church and say, hey, Pastor, I know we need to have every year this big, gigantic pastor's anniversary, but let's say we didn't this year. Let's say we try something a little different. Or when you're in a fraternity, sorority, or in NAACP, and because we could throw a party. God knows, black people, we have mastered the party. And we join everything. We are in so many groups, but so disorganized. So here we are, in these organizations, in these communities, yet and still, the person most likely to kill one of us looks just like us. And here, let me take it one step further. I had a conversation with the mayor of New Orleans, and he keeps in his office, this is a true story, he keeps in his office binders, physical, with the 6-inch binder, really fat binders, 6-inch binders of all of the people murdered in his city. All of them. So he showed me one. And almost everybody in there is black. But here's the kicker. Almost everybody in there who's murdered was murdered by somebody they know. They played midget football with, played AAU with, grew up in the same neighborhood as. So if we can get us to stop hurting us first, we'd be pretty far. Never got the whole audience say bless you, but thank you. And then we can get politically involved and start to fight the laws. We get too caught up in the march or the theatrics. I'm so sick and tired of these brothers who are on television getting out there, getting y'all all riled up so that they can get their heads back on TV and then do nothing. Every time I turn around, you see these cats out there. Oh, we shall overcome. Enough with the we shall overcome already. We ain't overcome. Sing another song. Fight the power. Get a remix that joint or something. But this has got to stop. Y'all gotta come with a different form of leadership than what we've had so far. You got a different appetite than the other groups that came before. You want something a little more punch to it. So since you want something a little more punch to it, then you got to get out there and get it. Support the people who are out there trying to get you up out of circumstances and stop us from being killed. Because the biggest threat to us is not an insane white dude who shoots into a car. That's not the biggest threat to us. It's just not to us.
How you doing? My name is Devontae Brown, and I have two questions for you, actually. First question is, what point in your life that got you to where you are right now? and made you motivated you to get to that point? Because I know brothers, we can do it, but there's has to be something that inspires us to do it. And for people like, because there's no black male symposiums back at home, so it's like, what do we do for people back at home to get them to this point, to get them to listen to this and actually change and get to where you're at?
That's two great questions. The first question is what inspired me. It's the same thing that inspires me. I hated being broke. I did. People talk, you can tell somebody who didn't grow up in poverty because they brag about it like it's cool. It ain't cool. It is not fun not having money. It's not fun feeling like you gotta steal a bike to get a bike. I've spray painted too many other people's bikes. This ain't your bike was blue. To be honest with you, I ain't like living like that. That just wasn't my thing. I felt like a scavenger. I felt like I was getting crumbs. I didn't like that. And I didn't feel like I deserved it. I felt like all I did was be born in this wrong zip code. Like that was all I did wrong. And really, you inspire me. I mean, y'all keep me going, man. You don't understand. Because the hardest part about doing what I do is not the people on the outside who would say mean things if I don't care what somebody says. But that's not really, that doesn't bother me. It's the times when you go so hard to help your own people. You know, at our school, there are times when there are people, I pick their kids up in the morning, I feed them, I buy them. They don't even know what a uniform costs. They don't even know what it costs, because they never bought one. I did. And those people can't even pierce their lips and say thank you, and when they do finally open their mouth and say, oh, he think we all that. That's fighting through that stuff. That's the stuff that really gets under my skin, to be really honest with you. But then I come here, and I'm good. Now they're in trouble. Now I'm fired up. They should take me out a long time ago. This is rap now. I'm good. There's that. And then the second question was about what should you guys do?
Yeah, black males do about people who are not in college.
Yeah, the hardest part about being where you are is feeling like there's somebody here who should have gotten this and didn't. You got it. So the people who should have gotten it, got it. Now I know if Weezy was up here, this place would be packed. Maybe people standing outside, waiting to get in, fighting to get in. I don't take offense to that. He sold more records than me. I'm not mad at that man. And I'm not mad at people who come to see him. That's him. But you came here today. And that's powerful. For you to come here, that's powerful. So that means there's something inside you that's bigger than this empty seats in here. There's something inside you that's supposed to be spread. You're supposed to take this and you're supposed to throw your arms around some cats and say, look, man, we gotta look better. And it's something as simple sometimes as waking a brother up who's in your, who you share a room with and say, man, didn't you go to practice today? Ain't you supposed to be somewhere? Oh man, I'm tired. Oh man, I'll go with you. Do what you gotta do to get them up out of it. Because that's the hard part. When you love somebody and you see them selling themselves out, that's really hard. Don't stop what you're doing to do it. Because there comes a point where you're saying, come on, man, and then they don't come, you just got to pivot.
How you doing, Dr. Perry?
Fantastic.
I'm a sophomore history major from Baltimore, Maryland. I'd like to ask
before you answer this, but do you see all these beautiful young brothers here? Can y'all just give them a round of applause, please? I mean, you got all this. This is not. Come on. These some good-looking dudes. And you should, just for real. You should, honestly, I'm just being, look, sisters, I'm trying to help you. Because some of your minds ain't right. And it's not your fault. Because the low self-esteem makes you set your sights low, makes you think you can't get certain men, and makes you take any old thing any old body gives to you, some little ugly boy who ain't going nowhere. Right? You look around here, you see this. This is awesome, man. This is not normal. Y'all really need to get familiar with this. This is the direction. Your brother, let that mess go.
can stand in the back.
My question has to do with school choice. I know you and contemporaries of yourself, like Jeff Camden and Harlem Children's Home, doing revolutionary work in the field of education. I was wondering how we talk to other progressives that are scared of school choice, that are scared of destroying the public school system, into accepting a new revolutionary book for education.
And love it. So the question was, how does he help other people be comfortable with the idea of school choice? Let me explain to you very simply. Sometimes facts help people, sometimes they don't. Some people say that they like the Steelers because they like the Steelers. Yo, we gotta be careful with the Steelers fans. They just take themselves way too seriously, right? But I digress. So let me say, some people you cannot change their minds because they don't want their minds changed. They're going to lie and they're going to say things like, charter schools are not better than traditional schools. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. When you make the comparison of charter schools in the same communities with the same schools, very often they outperform. Are there some charter schools that suck? Yes. But for the most part, no. That's the first point. Then you hear people saying, well, I'm for public school. Public school means the schools that educate the public, not a building. Big difference. The whole purpose behind public school funding is to provide you with access to a quality education. All of us in here are for vouchers. What's a voucher? A voucher is student financial aid. Anybody for financial aid? Any fans of financial aid? There you go. It's called a voucher. It's public money that's could be used for private goods and services. So your Pell Grant can go wherever you go. Well, that's all school choice is. School choice is the same thing that all of you went through when you were looking at colleges. You looked at what school was best for you. You made a decision on the one that was best for you. When people truly want to understand what's best for kids, they look at the data. The data clearly says that the schools of choice in virtually every community where they are the top performing schools, A, and B, the schools that everybody wants to go to. So schools like ours have a waiting list right now, it's still going, of 3,000 kids. We're going to accept 50. So simple math would tell you everybody wants this school, make another one. But what happens is smart people like you don't speak up and get in the face of the Board of Education members, and the unions and the teachers associations do get in their faces, and as a result, they don't expand our school, because to expand our school would potentially mean to take the jobs of ineffective teachers. There's a school, for instance, that's 2 blocks up the street from us, 2 blocks. They have 2 kids in the 8th grade who can read, write, and do math at grade level. There are 40 kids in the 8th grade. That's disgusting. Those kids weren't born that way. They just been in a bad school. So when you can talk to someone and you can say, man, just look at the data. Stop all the other stuff. The facts are the facts. Schools of choice, especially among urban populations and poor populations, are the best schools for us. And these are the schools that the families themselves, who, oh, by the way, are the voters, want. Then people start to listen. Some people. The other ones just move on. Thank you. Yep.
How you doing?
I'm well.
My name is Antonio Hanson. We got a new DVD coming out called I Got You. And our question is, as far as ex-offenders that want education, because they don't give us like, a lot of us don't get financial aid, or we don't get accepted on the campus, or people look at us kind of funny, and they just took away our rights, like to be discriminated against. So in 2011, so we want to know, as far as that, what do we have to do?
It's a great question. Question was, what about ex-offenders? So let me, very quickly, so one of my students, one of my former students went off to college, and then it didn't work out for him, and so he got caught up with the wrong crowd. And he was in a car with some weed in it. They got stopped. And there was a taser in the car. And so they got a case for that. We hired him at our school. As I've been here today, I received a text from him telling me that the school district just fired him today because he has a record. This is one of my kids. Not only is he one of my kids, but he's in my son's class. So I didn't just essentially work to raise this young man, but he's helping me to raise mine. It is wrong what is done to people who have served their time. What good is it to let people out if you're not going to let them participate? If you're not going to let this brother get his education, then why let him out? If the court says that he deserves to be out, then let him out. Let him live. Let him do what he's got to do to get his life together. But this is where you have to get involved in politics. Us having this really good conversation on a college campus doesn't really mean anything. You need to contact the state legislators. You need to contact the federal legislators. And all that means is call them or email them. That's all it means. It's not that deep. Organize yourselves and be very clear on what you're asking for. I don't understand why a person who served their time couldn't get financial aid. I don't get that. In fact, if there's anyone who I want to get financial aid, it's somebody who's already there and they're trying to get their life back right. It's not the way we do things. This is not that country. It's got to be better. And recognize who this hurts the most. If you very bright young men don't start to speak up, man, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. All right? Folks, I wish I could stay. I really do wish I could stay all week.